looking at the G6 Pro Bullet from UniFi. So yes, yet again, a product camera release, but honestly, it's a good thing. More cameras means more options in the long run, so you can really find the right solution for the right situation. And if you were considering getting an AI Pro or maybe another sort of G6, well, you might reconsider, because this is honestly what I think to be their most advanced camera yet. So we did a bunch of tests, we'll look at the specs and we'll see how it goes. All right, let's get to it. All right, so looking at the camera, the first thing that comes to mind is actually the base of it. So looking at the accessory mount that comes with the camera, as you can see, it's a little bit longer than the previous models, and this mount brings you a full 90 degrees rotation to really help you during your installs. In terms of accessory, it's the usual, so you have your screws, you have the right tools, everything you need is inside of the box. And if it's the first time you install a UniFi camera, it is super easy. So the PoE port that is used to power up the camera is inside the head of the camera, and to kind of assemble the camera together, you just need to look at how you open the box. So all the pieces are already placed the way it needs to be, and you just need to pass the cable along. You put the grommet to really secure the cable that will power up the camera, and you screw everything together, ready to go. And a quick tip here, so we just did a video about security tips from installers out there on a site, and something that we need to mention is that when you install your UniFi cameras, always connect them before the installation. So to make sure that you did the right upgrade, the right updates, and that the camera is working properly. So you don't want to do all of this while you're on the ladder, while the camera is already installed. It's right there. It's super easy to connect. As I said, you have the PoE part inside the head of the camera. You connect the cable and then you do your testing, making sure everything is right, and there you go. And for the specs, so you have an IR night vision, so up to 40 meters, so that's 131 feet. If you're using the vision enhancer, this goes all the way up to 60 meters, so this is 197 feet. In terms of the zoom mode, so you do have an optical lens that goes up to 2.36x, and you have all their baggage of analytics. So we're talking face recognition, license plate recognition, and also different smart detection for people, vehicle, and animal. So this camera has a 4K resolution, and if you compare it to the iPro, your field of view is actually a little bit bigger. When you're looking at the wide angle lens, you have 113.8 degrees horizontal. In terms of vertical, this is 61.9. And when you have your telemetric lens, so when you're zooming in, this is 45.5 degrees and a vertical of 25.8 degrees. So this camera does have two-way audio, so you have a microphone and a speaker, so you can communicate with people in front of the camera. And for weatherproofing, so a bit of improvement here. So the camera is IP66 and IK04. Now looking at the performance, your frame rate goes all the way up to 30 FPS and you have a 4K resolution. But the biggest difference is in terms of the optics. So when we look at the sensor, this is their biggest sensor yet. So we're talking 1.2 inch, which means their best night vision camera yet. So when you have a bigger sensor, what that means in terms of image quality is that you will have bigger pixels as well. So that means less noise, a clearer image, which really helps in that low light environment. Not only that, but in terms of aperture, as you can see below, so the F number is 1.5, you have 2.9, and the lowest the number gets, the more light the camera can get to again create a clearer image at night. So even with all of this, you still have a night mode with adaptive IR LEDs for illumination and also an IR cut filter. In terms of power, so this camera requires PoE+, so make sure you do have a PoE+ part on your switch. And it also comes with an expansion slot. So directly on the camera, you can do edge storage with a microSD card, which gives you redundancy. So if something's happened to your server, you always have footage stored directly on the camera. But again, it's always the same thing. When we read the specifications, it's not always clear how it transfers in real life situations. So this is why we bring you demos. So we look at what actually a bigger sensor means, because it's not as understandable as 4K versus 2 megapixel. You understand that there is less pixel in the image, which result in a lower quality. But when we're talking 8 megapixel one side, 8 megapixel another side, but the sensor difference, Well, it might not be as obvious. But again, as I said, the biggest difference is in terms of nighttime. So we did some testing for you and we'll showcase it right away. It's not easy to find unbiased help when you're looking for a solution for your project. Most manufacturers think they have the best solution. But this is where Pipl Systems comes in. We're a team of security experts that are here to help you. So if you're looking for access control or video intercoms, or if you're contemplating the idea of buying a 2 megapixel for your AI analytics, send us an email at admin@Pipl Systems and we will help you make the right decision. And if you decide to get a solution showcased on this channel, remember to use the affiliate link in the descriptions below. This is the best way you can support the channel, and this helps us make us more detailed guides for you, more case studies, so you're really able to see our product work. All right, back to the video. So for this demo, we're using a Network Video Recorder Pro paired with our camera. If you're not sure which gateway you need to start your UniFi Protect setup, remember that we have a full video covering the whole setup of the solution, so the gateway, cameras, and even the PoE switch. But for now, little surprise for you, because there's a new interface we're working with. So with the G6 Pro Bullet, this is using the 6.1 update from UniFi Protect. So a bunch of new things that we'll cover at the same time. So first off, we go here on our devices. If you click on the G6 Bullet Pro, you have this page on the right that appears, which gives you the status of the camera, different connection, and some more information. And if you go on the bottom of it, well, now you have your different alarms that are paired with the camera. So you can see the name and the trigger of the alarm when it was last triggered. And you can also manage your alarm right here. So you can create a new alarm for your camera that is based on object detection, some activities, webhooks, even ID. So if you want to use unknown faces, for example, and add a trigger for an alarm, you can configure it directly here. So when you click on your camera. Next, on the bottom, you have your internal storage. So this is where you would see if you have an SD card or not. Next, if you go on the recording settings, there's a lot of new options that are quite interesting, honestly. So as always, you have when to record. So if you want to do always, custom, or never. You also have your recording mode, so continuous, events only. And now you have the adaptive recording. So adaptive recording means that when there is no activity, it will lower the quality of the camera. And when there is a motion or a smart event detected, it will up the quality of the camera, so you have it in high resolution. So this helps you save storage in the long run. So instead of recording everything in high quality resolution, you can just have the right events that are recorded in 4K. So this again will help you save space in the long run. Next, you have your AI events. So you have, for example, here we have animal, face, license plate, person. You can add all of these by clicking on edit video detection types. You also have different audio detection that you can add, and you can create some motion events as well. Now right here you have the seconds added before AI detections and after. So it's always important to have those selected. Again, yes, it will create maybe longer events recorded, but having this context of after and before can really help understand the situation better. Another nice feature that was added is tamper detection. So now when someone tried to physically move your camera or just put something in front of it to hide its view, you will receive an alarm and you will also see it inside of your timeline. If we go down, we have the recording qualities. So your FPS, either auto or custom, so this camera can go all the way up to 30 FPS. You have your video compression, different encoding, your recording resolution, so this is a 4K camera. You can also change the overlay information, so what you want to have in your live view camera, and also the recording retention. So when your storage is full, it will start overwriting what was first saved, so this way you're always recording everything. So when, for example, your hard drive is full, it will not stop recording, so you're not missing any action. Next, so they changed the zones in line to add it to this page. So now you can create your motion zone, smart zone, crossing lines, and privacy blackout directly from this interface. So if I click add on the motion zones, all I need to do is create that zone, and every time someone enters, so there's a motion inside the square I'm drawing right now, well, it will create an event in my timeline. Also, I can also configure it for my alarms as well. You also can do it for smart zones. So the difference here is the detection type. So you create again a box for your detections, but now it will be triggered if there is, for example, an animal, a face, person, or even a vehicle. So any kind of smart detection that happens in the box will trigger an event in your timeline, and you can also configure an alarm for this. You also have the loitering feature. So this is if you want to detect for a person or vehicle the amount of time it stays in this box before it is triggered as an event. So you can do that here for example, 10 seconds all the way up to 5 minutes. You can change the sensitivity. And here you also have the zone bitrate. So the way they explain it is that it will improve the video quality in this zone, but it may reduce quality outside of the saved bandwidth. But when you trigger it, so when you select the enhanced zone bitrate, you can actually change the quality here. So if you want it to be low or high, depending on your needs. Next, you have the crossing lines. So here you can customize the crossing line for your camera to your liking. So if you want to monitor in which direction vehicles come by, persons come by, and you can really personalize it. So here, for example, we have it both ways. Here you have A to B and here B to A. So you can see it reflected directly on the arrow. So the arrow is changing size right here. And as I mentioned, you also have your detection type right here. So if I want, for example, just vehicles, I leave it toggled and I can have my count detections. So for the count detection, you can choose when it will reset. So if I want to have a daily reset, at what time I want it to reset, to really be able to monitor for a certain amount of time what happens in this scenario, so how many cars come by on a daily basis. Next, you can draw your privacy blackout. So this can be really helpful when you need to hide some information when you're monitoring a premise. So again, it's similar to the motion zone, so you will just use this black box to hide the detail on your camera. So for example, if I want to hide this parking spot, I can draw a box like so, and now on my full view, so if I save, you will see this box appear, and now I don't see the space. So if in your monitoring you want to hide some private information, you can draw a box and just leave it here and customize it to your liking. But now for this demo, we'll actually remove this box. So you can remove it like so. It goes pretty fast. And yeah, so they added this on the top here, which is pretty convenient. I mean, the less clicks you need to do to access some information, the better. So thumbs up to the UI team and UX from UniFi. Next, we're looking at the settings. So here you can change your camera name. You can open a preview. You can change the sensitivity of your microphone, and you can also disable when recording. So if you don't want to record all the different noises and the people talking, you can disable it here. If you disable permanently your microphone, just keep in mind that you will need to reset your camera to bring it back. It means that in the future you might need to reconfigure your camera. You also have the HDR settings for your camera that you can change right here. You have your night vision, so you can either customize it to your liking or have it on auto mode, so to trigger the IR filters, IR LEDs. You have your thresholds, so when you go on customs, depending on the amount of lux, which is the amount of light in the area, this is when it will trigger, for example, the IR LED from your camera. You also have here the status sound and the status light. If I go inside advanced settings, it is the shutter exposure, the different picture preference that you can configure right here. You can choose the orientation of your camera. You can share a live stream. So either you can create a public share link or an RTSPS output. So if you want to share what your camera is seeing, it can be a nice way to do it. Another new feature is actually the manual recovery, and it probably happened to you, it happened to me a bunch of times. So when you want to adopt this product device on another UniFi console, you can now share a recovery code, so it's easier to transfer a device to another console. So for example, here in the studio we have a lot of different consoles, so this is definitely something we will use and will improve the way we transfer our cameras. Next, we're going to go on the left side, so all the way to find anything. So if you click on find anything, they did again a lot of improvement here. So first we have all the different detection that appear on your screen. So whether it's a car detection, audio detection, person detection, you have everything here. You can find them through event types. You have your flagged events. You can select the different cameras you want to showcase here. So right now we only have one. You can also filter through audio, vehicle color. So for example, if I click on yellow here, all the different yellow vehicles that came by and were spotted by the camera appears on the screen. So if I click here, you have the event on your timeline. So through this blue color, this is where the event takes place. And you have your detection, so you can just go over it and it will highlight it. So you can see it detects a sedan vehicle of the yellow color. And there you have your event detection. Now, one of the features they changed is actually they compacted together faces and person detection. So when you click on the person right here, you also have the face detection right here as well. So it's not in different categories anymore. And this goes back to what I was saying, it's saving you some clicks. So rather than having to navigate to different windows, like person and faces are paired together. So it's saving you clicks, everything is at the same place, so it makes it easier to monitor for you. So if I click on unassign, I have the different faces that the camera saw. And right here, so I can click on view similar, and it will pop up all the different faces that does look like the first one. And from there, what you can do is actually assign these faces, well, all the faces that were detected, and merge them to an existing one. So for example, I have myself here. So all 21 recognitions, I look at them, it's really me. So I can save, and now they're all part of me right here. So for example, I click here, and all of a sudden I have all the detections on my file. So if I look at the license plate, it's similar to the faces, so I can click on a license plate. So for example, I click on this one, and then I can open it to create a new favorite license plate or put it on my watch list and then populate it like we did with the faces one. So if we look at the bottom, we also have the vehicle type. Just make sure you remove all the filters. So right now we have this license plate, so we're gonna remove it so we can select all the vehicles, because if you chose bus, for example, nothing would have appeared because it doesn't have the same license plate. So now I click on bus, you see there's different buses that appear on my screen. And if I click on motorcycle, well, same thing, you have different motorcycle and the infamous stroller. So again, UniFi, we talked about this. Why are strollers in motorcycle? We're waiting for an answer here. But again, it really helps you pinpoint what you're looking for. So if you're looking for a sedan, you click on it, you see all of them appear, and you can select them with the color. So it just facilitates everything when you're trying to review an information and find the information. So rather than having to go through all the data just by clicking on a few things, and you have the information you're looking for. Next up, we're looking at the playback. So this is for your specific camera. So we're gonna pass right here. So on your playback, you have again different options. You have your timeline on the side where you can navigate through and find the different actions. So here, for example, it is identified by our thumbnail. So we have a pet detection. So you have a raccoon right here on the screen. And make sure you change it to high quality, so directly on your image, so you're able to really see in 4K the subject on your camera. Not only that, but you can download the footage that you find. So if I click on download, it will ask me from which period I want to download. So right now it's to a 30-second event. And I can download it in multiple ways. So I can download it either to my device directly, or I can add more options. So you can link your account to Google Drive, OneDrive, Dropbox, or even a NAS. So when you save your events, it will directly go inside those folders. So again, if you want to save space on your PC, for example, where you're monitoring, it's a practical thing to do. So just a nice FYI, if you didn't know you could link your accounts to this. Now we're gonna close this. So on the bottom here, again, you have all the different detections. You have the person detections, face detection, as we discussed, license plate, vehicle. So if we click on vehicle here, for example, and if we go back on all detection, you have animals, audio, and tempering. So tempering is new, and it has its own little icon now. So you have the hand when there's a tempering detected. I will click on tempering. You see it appear on the timeline. So here, for example, I just put my hand in front of the camera and it created an event on the timeline. So again, this is something you can configure when you are inside the camera, as we showed in the beginning. And yeah, really practical. Honestly, I think you should do it for all of your camera. It just tells you when someone is messing with it. So it's a pretty important feature. So again, really glad UniFi added it to their interface. Now, another thing I wanted to showcase is the grid search, because this can be really helpful when you're trying to find on a specific area. So when you click on grid search, you have this grid that appears on your monitoring, and you just click and it will send you the event that took place in this specific area. So on this grid here, I click, and when I press play, you see that this person right here went into that case. So again, making it easier for you to find the information you're looking for in a matter of seconds. Next, after the grid search, you have your heat map. So if I click on heat map right here, and I go on the top of my camera, I can select, for example, person in, let's say, last month. So it creates this heat map that I can see where person were walking and where they were standing at the same place. So we see a lot of people were standing right here. You can do the same thing for vehicles. So here, well, you understand there's a parked car here, sometimes here as well, and in the street right in front of the driveway. And one thing to consider is that all these options are free. They come with your UniFi gateway for Protect. So you don't need any add-ons to have your heat map or your grid search. It's all included, and I cannot say that enough, because there's not many software that actually provide you with all those different tools to help with your monitoring. But now, what we discussed at the beginning that makes this camera unique is the size of its sensor, so for nighttime vision. So we're gonna go and look at some nighttime footage we took. So I'll just select this period of time. And as you can see here, I had a little fun in front of this camera. So here we were at about, I think it was 8 lux. So not a lot of light. As you can see, we have the lights from the house on the sides. But again, I'll put high quality right here. I'll put it in full screen. You can see that the colors are really good, actually. You're able to see all the different details. So even though they're colors that are quite similar, you have the gray right here, the black from my hat, green from my pants, and even the different color shoes. And even if I go down the street right here, you're still able to perceive those different colors quite clearly. And this is what having a bigger sensor gives you. So even if you have just small lights around your camera, so around your premise, you're still able to capture all those different details. So I see the herb is green, the flowers are yellow, I see the blue bin right here, I see the details from my subject on the screen. So again, if something's happened, if there's an intruder come in on your premise, you're able to give those important details in your report. So it's easier to find that person afterward. And another thing to notice is actually when there is movement. One of the common things when we're looking at nighttime cameras is the ghost effect. So there's a lot of noise, and sometimes you can see multiple people on the screen because the sensor is maybe too small, the aperture is not getting enough light. But here, as you can see, even when I start running, no trail, no ghost effect, no real noise. You're still able to identify the subject without any trouble. And the most important thing is that it also triggers an event in your timeline, because some cases with nighttime cameras is because it is too dark, it will not register as an event on your timeline, and well, you're not able to know that someone came in front of your house, for example, or there was a car parked in your driveway. Which, well, it's not the ideal case when you're talking about security. That's what the camera is made for, right? To report those different incidents. And even if it's super dark, remember that you have access to IR LEDs. So if I go here and do a person detection, for example, I want to face, you have me here, you're able to see the person clearly. So here I'm walking around, you're still able to identify me. So I will have a full screen. I was taking some B-rolls at night. So as you can see, even the AI sees me at 94%. So this will trigger an event and it will be added to your timeline. So even in complete darkness, you're still able to get information if there is an intrusion on your premise. So the takeaway from this is that UniFi, as you can see, they're diversifying their offering. They're making camera for specific use case. Now we have the G6 Pro Bullet that performs great in daytime, but also great in nighttime vision. So if you need that kind of camera to record at night, well, now it's here. It's their best one yet. And if you need an LPR camera to really capture the different license plate that comes by, let's say, a parking lot, well, there's one for that too. So what can get complicated as a new user is that they're releasing a bunch of camera and now their portfolio is getting quite big. So which camera should you get for which situation? And it's actually a video we're working on where we're analyzing all the different cameras from UniFi to really help you pick the right one. Because I believe that yes, they just released the G6 Pro Bullet, but there's a lot more to come and I cannot say it enough, but it's a good thing. So guys, again, I'm Jeremy from Pipl Systems. I hope you liked the video. Don't forget to give us a like and subscribe, and see you on the next one.